Call the meeting of the Marshall County Fiscal Court to order on this day, Tuesday, June 30th, 2015. Today is the end of our fiscal year, 2014-15. We'll be finishing up things to get us on to our new year of fiscal year, which will be 2015-2016. Glad to see everybody here, by the way. First thing on our agenda is Bobby Gifford.
I have two items this morning, Judge. First of all, we issued Justin has a copy for the record. We issued an invitation to bid for booster station at the Oak Level, for the Oak Level tank, and that's with the city of Benton partnering with us. The first bid was for the pump itself. We received 3 bids for that. One bid was Engineered Fluid Incorporated. Their bid was $63,399.66. KLM Sales and Service. Their bid was $88,900. And Strafer Pump and Supply. Their bid was $61,995. They were the apparent low bidder, and they meet all the qualifications, and it's my recommendation that we accept this bid from Strafer Pump and Supply for $61,995.
All right, gentlemen, you've heard the recommendation. What would be your pleasure?
Make that motion, Judge.
All right, there's a motion. Is there a second? Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
At the same invitation to bid, we bid the building that would house these pumps, and we received 0 bids. I believe, Mr. County Attorney, that gives us either the right to negotiate with a vendor or that we could do this in-house, and I believe the special projects and you, Judge, have discussed that they're going to do that we will buy the material through Water Vision and that they're going to construct this.
That's true.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Gary Tatenbrock said that, yeah, they think they can work that into their schedule. If it's all right with the court, we will go that route. We don't have any other options at this point. Jeff, do I need to ask for a motion on that, or we just put that in the record as the special maintenance crew will be building
Yeah,
that?
since they've authorized to be put out to bid, whichever option you're going to take, whether you go out and negotiate it, rebid it, or have special projects do it, I think you should have a vote on that.
All right, gentlemen, would y'all like to discuss that any? Or would you like to go with a recommendation already of using our special maintenance crew to take care of this?
They're capable of doing it if they've got the time, that's fine. But
I talked to
make a motion
Gary-
that we just have the special projects crew take care of that.
I talked to Gary, and I think the way he talked, they think they can get that done with some of the other things they've got going even.
Very fortunate to have a group that can
We
do
are
those kind of
very
things.
fortunate. So I would entertain a motion to have our special projects crew take care of that
So
that
moved.
building. Is there a second?
Second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
One of the other projects that I'm helping with is Sanitation District Number 2. You all had sent a request for information. They sent part of that back. We have evaluated the financials that they have sent in. I've since met with all the board members at one time. They agreed that they see now that what they had asked you all for $20,000 is actually $200,000. I believe we sent you all information about what Kentucky Rural Water suggested needs to be done to the plant. They understand that. They have asked me to pursue funding alternatives for them to be able to correct their problems now, as well as possibility of bringing the 2 schools together, which will help them completely. But I am in the process of, there was some housekeeping they've got to do with their financials first, but we're working on that, and I'm moving forward with finding them
a funding solution.
All right. Is that all, Bobby?
Yes, I have another place to go.
All right, good luck. Thank you for your reports. Next on our guest list is Ken Weber with Reach Alert, accompanied by Councilwoman Rita Murray.
The city has decided to go with Reach Alert. It's a system that you can call people in the community, mass amount of people, when there is a problem in your city or in the county. And Ken, we thought maybe y'all might like to hear about this system, because if we all went together, the city and the county, it reduces the price quite a bit. And this is just a yearly fee, so he'll explain it all to you.
All right, thank you, Rita.
Okay.
Thank you. Reach Alert, quite simply, is we developed an alert service following the shootings on the campus of Virginia Tech. We are a software development company, and a number of our clients came to us and said that we need to have the ability to communicate with a lot of people in a very short period of time. We have been working with the Kentucky League of Cities now for about 3 years, and we provide this service to, oh gosh, several dozen cities throughout the state. And essentially what it does is it gives you the ability to type a message and send it out so that people can receive it via text message, via voice call, or via email, or all three if they want to. Just 2 weeks ago, we were in Lexington participating with the Kentucky League of Cities Disaster Preparedness Conference, and we made a presentation on the inability of cities to communicate with people in a very short period of time. And one of the things that I spoke to the folks about was, when I speak with cities, a lot of times they'll say, Ken, we don't need Reach Alert, we've got it covered, we've got a good plan. And they said that we have a great relationship with the local radio station, and we can get them go on the air immediately, and we can get the word out. And that is a very good plan A, but the only problem is, during my research, I found out that only 60% of the people listen to the radio on a daily basis. And the majority of those folks are listening to the radio as they're driving to work or from work. So let's just say we had a train derailment and some tanker cars were burning and it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. There's only about 20% of the people at home listening to the radio throughout the course of the day. And if they happen to be listening at 2 o'clock, they'll get the message. The bottom line is less than 15% of the people will get their message via the radio at that time. If it's 2 o'clock in the morning, no one's listening to the radio. And so their fallback position was, we have a great relationship with the local television station, and we can get on air really fast with that. And I guess the only rhetorical question I would ask you is, when was the last time you all watched TV? If it's like me, it was last night. And I'm not going to watch it again until 6 or 7 o'clock tonight. So if something happens at 2 o'clock, again, I'm not going to be in the loop. And the bottom line is, when people register, they can say that the best way to get a hold of me is to send me a text message. Now, I speak with a lot of first responders, and they say, we've got it covered with reverse 911, which is an awesome system. Until you find out that 42% of people in the United States no longer have a landline. And reverse 911 calls landlines. And if they called my home phone number, my wife is at work, my son is in school, and I'm here, nobody's going to get that message until 5 or 6 o'clock tonight. So if it's an emergency message, we're not going to know what's going on. And I just used a hazmat situation. It could be something as simple as a boiled water advisory. I usually find out that there's a boiled water advisory the next day. If there was anything wrong with the water, I've already got whatever the problem is going to be. And so basically what Reach Alert does is, when your folks register, they can get a text message, or they can say, you know what, I have a cell phone like my mom does, but she doesn't do text messages, she does voice calls. And so we can call her on her cell phone. And literally within less than 60 seconds, you can type the message, send it out, and everybody in the county knows what's going on. It's one of those things that you can have as many groups as you want. We're talking with the city of Benton, and they not only want to use it for the citizens, the households within the city of Benton, but also the gas customers that they serve. So whenever you have any kind of information that you need to share with your people in a very short period of time, Reach Alert gives you that ability to do that. And I'll stop with this last one. One of our clients is the city of Edgewood, Kentucky, up in northern Kentucky. And they have a big road construction project going on. And I just got a message 10 minutes ago because I've subscribed to it that says that they're starting to blacktop this section of road for the next 2 days and expect at least an hour-long delay. So as a resident, if you can save me an hour going to work and my boss getting mad at me because I showed up late because I didn't know there was road construction going on, or coming back, or even first responders knowing that we need to avoid this section of the road, that's one of the things that Reach Alert can reach out and tell people about in a very short period of time. And I've given you all the numbers and the things like that. So if you have any questions, I know this is something that you all would need to discuss, but I just put that information out there. You all have an informational brochure as well, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Gentlemen, would you like to ask some questions regarding this? I know that at some point we've been approached by another company. I cannot remember the name.
Now, I am from Louisville, and Louisville has Code Red.
Code Red. I think we had,
City of Jefferson County has Code Red, and they use that strictly for weather advisories.
it's just weather. That's not anything else. He's talking about, what you're talking about would cover anything from a disaster to simple boil water order or change
Just tell you
of
that the 4th of
traffic.
July parade is being held at 10 o'clock CU downtown. It's anything that you need to communicate in a short period of time.
Now, I think you've got what he handed out, these costs.
And just so you know, too, on those costs, it's based on the total number of households and businesses. And we know that, like in my household, I'm registered for it, my wife is registered for it, and my 2 sons are. So we have 4
It's one household, but you have 4 different phones that will be called with this
and
ring down.
4 different emails.
And 4
too.
different emails.
So we will get
Okay.
that message multiple ways.
Okay.
And all that's for just 75 cents per household, not per phone.
Per household. It is per household, not per phone. So, and that cost will be up on the county, correct? In the city. We'll be sharing the cost of that if that's, comes to fruition. Gentlemen, have you got any thoughts on this? Would you like to get some more information on it and consider it until the next meeting?
Has the city already committed?
We're voting at our next city council to accept it. Everybody's in agreement too. And we don't meet until the 3rd Monday. Anyway, but the mayor and all 6 councilmen have said.
You know if
yes,
this is
privately.
similar to what the school system has?
Yeah, like the school can call and say, it's snow day, won't be no school today. You can send a message for whatever you want to, just like the city, if we have boil water, if we have a gas leak somewhere, if, we could have even used it when the 3 inmates escaped out here at this jail. We could have alerted the citizens in Benton just like that, so they could be on the alert. We plan on using it like when we have events in the city, like the car show. We're gonna let everybody notify, you know, that this is going on in our city. And there's, you know, it's not for yard sales and things such as that. It's what the city decides that wants to go out to the people. And his price that you can send out 500,000 messages a year. I don't think we're gonna be sending out that many, but that's how many messages that you can. If for some reason there was a disaster up here and you had to close the courthouse for the day, you can notify if the city hall had to close the city hall, you know, for a day or whatever. When we have the blizzards, I mean, you know, whatever the city, and only certain people have access to that computer. It's not, none of us councilmen, the mayor, and then the leaders over each department will be able to send out a message that, you know, that you want to notify other people. I mean, there could be a fire downtown and you don't want people coming down here. You know, you can get message out to avoid certain areas. I mean, there's just whatever the county or the city wants to notify their people. But we are planning on going with it. We just not going to vote. Can't vote until
Well, and of
Third
course, and
Monday.
you talked to me, the cost is gonna be a little more cost-effective if you have the county go with you.
Yes, if
But whether
everybody,
we go with you or not, it sounds like you're pretty much gonna do this
Yeah.
anyway.
We're-
Okay.
unless something changes between now
Yeah.
and the third Monday, we're planning on
Which,
going.
gentlemen,
this
I
way.
mean, it sounds like
And it's just, well, like I say, it's similar as the school system, anything pertaining to the school, like contact all the students. And if for some reason a household decides, I don't like getting those calls, they can have their number deleted. It's not mandatory. It's volunteer. The people will have to sign up what phone numbers. And like I say, each household, if it's 10 people that live there, or 10 types of phones that they have, it's just still like he's showing.
so like I have a
y'all said,
landline and a cell phone, that will come to both of my phones, right? Okay.
If you sign them both up.
And one of the things too is, we recognize the fact that a lot of people aren't very computer savvy. And I keep, when I say that, I keep thinking of my mom. Mom doesn't even have a computer. So if she can't register online, we have a toll-free number that she would call. And it literally takes about 30 seconds to get her registered. And thinking about the schools, if the county does it, the schools would be included within that network.
Gentlemen, you have any questions?
If,
I think
if the
we would
city
like to
goes
prob-
with it and then we decide later to go with it, can we still get these savings where the,
Sure. We can work it out. I mean,
Okay.
I understand. I mean, you folks are going to need to discuss it and look at your
Have some
options and
time
everything
to-
else.
Yeah, we need, and look at the figures and just make sure that we can cover that. I'm assuming this is totally upon the county to cover this cost. This is gonna be a service. And the city. This is a service of the city and the county to the people. So they're not gonna be charged anything extra. This is strictly coming from us.
And we assume, too, that the county is going to have information that they need to share with everybody. The city of Benton will have information that they only need to share with their residents and to, about specific incidents.
So, yeah, I think if it's all right then, we'd like to talk about this a little bit more, and maybe our next meeting is July 21st. Maybe we can have I know we can have an answer by then anyway, after we've talked about it and see how we sit on it. Rita, I hope that, if y'all go ahead, then I don't know. I'm kind of I'll announce right now in favor of this, but I would like to study it a little bit more and have them have a little more time to study it also. Okay?
Thank you for your time.
And if we
Thank you.
pass it and y'all pass it the next meeting, it's not going to affect the next day,
Yeah.
There's a lot of work to go, so.
What time frame are we looking at if we do go into this by the 21st of July?
If you were to tell me today that you wanted to do it, in about 15 minutes, we could have your network set up.
Okay.
It doesn't take that long to
All
do it.
right,
We just need
all
to make
right.
sure that we know we're setting it up the way that you all want it set up.
Okay. All right. That sounds good. Thank you so much. Appreciate you being here with us today. Next on the agenda, Jill Webster.
Morning.
Good morning. Have we got any?
I'm here representing Pirates Cove and the Beautification Committee, and several of our committee members are here with me. What spurred this on is an instance, and I called County Judge Executive about this, but in our neighborhood, we have a corner, and I have audio visuals as a teacher right here.
I'm sorry, I don't have anything out here. I didn't know you'd have anything like that.
I'll just point. And I want to pass this, some things, I'll pass this one around because this is the beginning of the problem. There's a house on the corner of Murmy Road and Beasley. It's 251 Murmy. And I called the sheriff's office because I wanted a copy of the latest nuisance complaint. I don't know how many I have sent in. I know I have sent in 6 on this property over the past 6 years, starting in 2010. And I think I sent some before then. Anyhow, the resident of this property, and I'll pass this around so you can see it, is is in jail for selling heroin in our neighborhood, and he's been in jail for a year. This property has been in a state of disrepair since before 2010, with piles of junk. And on this corner, this is the corner of Murphy Road and Beasley Road, and his property is right here. Well, every corner is loaded with junk, and this goes straight through the middle of Pirates Cove. At this end is the office and the pool and the hotel and everything there. You have to go through this stop sign to go to the other end to get to the marina, the campgrounds, and every day, hundreds of people go through this intersection and have to stop and look at this corner that is loaded with junk. And we are tired of it. And it doesn't, when I talked to the sheriff told me that property could not be addressed by the nuisance ordinance because it was a crime scene. Well, there's a crime, but it's not related to the heroin. It's related to the fact that the law, which was created by the state, and you have also this 381.770, has to do with junk sitting around Marshall County and all over the state of Kentucky. And nobody pays any attention to us. And it's corner after corner. Now, I'm only going for one spot, but these 4 corners all need to be addressed. And it is part of the law. Well, every time I talk to the sheriff, he says it's not, he does not want to enforce the nuisance law. And last year, in his office, in front of all of his employees, to my face, he says, I am not going to enforce the nuisance law. Okay, this is another corner of Pirates Cove, right there. Same corner, across the street. This is across the street from a house that is for sale for $200,000. They can't give it away. And here's the information on that house. Those people have had that house for sale 4 or 5 years, dropped the price of the house $50,000. It's next to these other 4 places directly. That house sits right next to this, right there. $50,000 it's dropped in value, and they can't get rid of it because it's on this corner next to these 4 places that are full of junk. Am I upset? Okay. There's a house that's unfortunately for sale right here at the end of this lane. I mean, these houses, and it's like 100, 200 feet from the road. They were going to start out at 119. It's for sale for $79,000. Okay. Anyway, everybody has to go through this. I have to go through this at least 2 times a day, going to my house, which is on the airstrip. And these 2 properties are owned by the same person, and they do not live there. All they do, that one that's going around, and this one, the man doesn't not own the property. He puts the property in his wife's name. It's not, he has one of those deed of trust agreements. The people who really own it in Washington, D.C. And he doesn't live there. He piles junk there. He had the junk on another property. They moved the property from that site to this site. We even have an ambulance on that piece of junk. And that ambulance has been there for 5 years. And it was on another property for another 5 years. We're tired of it. Here's some other people dropped the price of their house $30,000 because they can't sell it because it's in the next block down. It's right there, just right next to this mess. Anyway, we just are concerned about our neighborhood, that the sheriff address the problem. I do not like it that the sheriff has to be in charge of this. I will be first to stand in line and say, I do not want the sheriff to be in charge of this. And I think it would be good if we got somebody else in charge of this. Because he does, I'm glad he got rid of a bunch of drug dealers out of our neighborhood. The heroin dealer who lived in this house at 251, I'm glad he's gone. And I thank you for getting rid of him, I really do. And the other 3 or 4, and who knows how many others. They used to deal right behind my house. I'm glad they're gone, and if it weren't for the sheriff taking care of that, it wouldn't have happened. And I do thank you for that. I don't think the sheriff should be in charge of the nuisance law. I think you ought to consider something else. I had a piece of property in Cleveland, Mississippi. I was not around. I was not informed by my realtor that the grass had grown. They went in there twice, cut the property, put it on my tax bill, and it cost me $685. They knew how to take care of it. And this is material from them. I'll be glad to share with you all about the letter they sent out, but it's not under the auspices of the sheriff, and I don't think it should be under the sheriff. It needs to be under some other group. I understand, according to the papers I've read here, who are on the Marshall County Refuse Board.
Who are on the, you don't have a list?
There's no list
Well,
in
we
your,
can give you, there's.
but
there-
they're
we have a
supposed to be
list
taking care of
downstairs.
this too. What do they do?
Is that how it's set up?
Yeah, that board is, when the complaint's filed, if the sheriff issues a notice and that notice is appealed, then that board gets involved.
That board hears the appeal.
But from what I understand, it hasn't got there because it's
Nothing
been
ever,
stalled
I
at the
think there's a
sheriff's
round
office.
file that it goes into at the sheriff's office, and it never goes any farther. Not without somebody raising Cain. I got more to do. I'm tired of this. I don't want to come up here and raise Cain over it. I just want somebody to care enough to do something about the refuge problem in Marshall County. It's a detriment to the county. It makes people think, people come to our house and think, good grief, when they get to that corner. What kind of a dump is this? People can't sell their property because of this junk. And nobody responds, and I can't blame the sheriff. I know it was given to him, but I think you need to reconsider who's in charge of the refuse, trash, junk problem. These properties are definitely in violation of the law, and nobody does it, and I don't think it should be the sheriff's department. I think it should be somebody else, somebody who's a bunch of old ladies like me or in a bad mood. You need somebody else to take care of this. And I guess that's all I have to say. Any questions on the topic?
Well, I can make a comment. I've been there, and I have pictures of all of that. I talked to the sheriff. It's my understanding, and he didn't go into details, that there's some legal issues associated with the first property that you mentioned, that they can't enforce anything on that property at this time.
Now, they've taken, the people who own the property have emptied the house out. Now there's a huge tree that fell on top of it.
The last I had on it, and across the road, at the time that it was viewed, it was not viewed as meeting the statute, the nuisance ordinance.
Okay, let me find my paper and I'll read that to you.
That's the only one of that she's talked about that I know anything about, but I do know that that one is still, still in court.
Still in court, it's an ongoing
Yes.
situation, and
He has several
How can
different
the
charges
yard,
over
how
a
can the
period of
yard
time.
be like that? I mean, the yard has had 18 inches of snow on it. It's had 40,000 inches of rain.
Like I said, I don't know that. I don't know anything about the enforcement of the
Okay. All
ordinance
righty.
because the sheriff does that himself, but I do know that that property, that person is still in court over several different
in jail.
charges, including, multiple heroin.
Okay, this is what is supposed to be unlawful. Junk to wrecked automobiles, vehicles, machines, and other scrap, salvage material, including inoperative farm equipment. Does it apply? Yes. One or more mobile or manufactured homes, that are junked, wrecked, inoperative, and which are not inhabited, does it apply? Yes. Rubbish, yes. Excessive growth of weeds and grass. Usually when the sheriff does respond, all he has is somebody cut the grass. Well, that's not gonna work with all this junk laying around. So I guess that's, anything else?
I have been out there. Mr. Curtis Kavanaugh, and he is president of the association. I went out there 3 months ago or something when, I guess last year, or maybe the first of this year, they contacted the court, and I went out there and rode around to these very properties that you're talking about, or many of these very properties. One of them may be new, but some of these things are not only nuisance. I mean, there's safety and a health issue also, which is my biggest concern. And I agree with you 100% that like I say, I've seen it firsthand.
Yep. Well, everybody agrees. And I truly appreciate that. But I want somebody to do something. You're decreasing the value of our properties. These people cannot sell or give away their properties. It's an eyesore. It's depressing. Looking at this day after day, we're tired of it. Then it makes you all look like you don't care. I mean, a county that allows properties, and this is only a few of many in Marshall County that are allowed to go in disrepair, piles of junk, and nobody responds. And I wish you could find someone beside the sheriff to be in charge of it, and I guess that's all I've got to say.
Ma'am, I appreciate your coming and talking to us. I understand your dilemma. I really do. Jeff, is this somehow a problem that exists because we have no zoning in the county?
Part of it is because like that one last document came through that was part of, it referenced the zoning ordinance, which is the way that these things need to be handled. This nuisance ordinance is the way we tried to, but since we didn't have zoning, the court wanted something, and so I drafted that in an effort to try to do as much as you can. And I mean, and certainly there have been some properties cleaned up. I mean, there's just, I don't know what the status of this one is exactly, but that there is a big difference in a community that has zoning and one that doesn't.
And I know that the former judge tried to get zoning here, and it just was not going to happen. People didn't want zoning. They don't want anybody telling them what to do with their own property. They want to tell everybody what to do with their property, but don't tell me what to do with my property, basically, is what they've said to us. So we're kind of got our hands tied, the way it sounds, because we don't have zoning. It just makes it harder on us trying to get anything done with property that's not our property.
Well, it's a state law. And then you all adopted it that you were going to enforce that.
I think what we have
And
is
we
an
have,
ordinance.
that's true. I mean, there is an ordinance that, right. I mean, and I guess what the sheriff's office could, address that and let you all know what the status is. That'd be the next step.
But doing nothing is not working.
The sheriff does those himself, so I really don't know what
And see, the sheriff
status
should
is.
not have to do that. I mean, the sheriff should be out doing sheriff things.
Well, because we had to do this ordinance this way, we had to put someone in charge, and the sheriff was the most likely.
Well, I think you need to
have-
reconsider
You have
that.
to have teeth, and when you come after somebody, I would think that somebody that's in the power or has a lot of authority, I think that's the one you want,
But I
If
don't
somebody
think
comes to your house
yeah.
and wants you to clean up, you're going to be much more receptive if this guy's got a gun and a badge than you are if I come out there.
I don't necessarily
same.
agree with that. I appreciate it,
Oh,
but I don't
okay.
agree with it, because these people in Mississippi, they just have people who go around, and it's called code enforcement, and they enforce the codes. And then they take care of it, they do it, then they put the bill on your tax statement. I think you need to reconsider that, because the sheriff does not need to go and personally look at every one of these pieces of property. I just can't see where that makes any sense for his time. But if he comes to this one, he can get 4 in 1.
Can you leave us a copy of that, or can we get a copy made before you leave that Mississippi?
You may have that.
Okay,
I brought
thank you.
brought that just for you.
Thank you.
I know,
Just
I
wanna
can
look at
assure
it.
you, he's been there.
I know he's been there. He's been there multiple times when we've arrested this guy. But there's no sense for that yard to be considered a crime scene. It's been contaminated, kids playing around in it. There's a chest freezer some kid could get into and suffocate. There's there's buckets of water and oil, standing water. There's any manner of things that are readily accessible by anyone. It is in no way restricted by any kind of a border or a tape, anything. The lady who owns the house has removed everything out of the house. If you were going to look for meth or coke or whatever you're looking for, it's gone.
Have we got any option at all, Jeff, to get
Yeah,
a
I mean, this would be an action against the owner of the property.
safety issue, because there are things that
I mean,
exist there that
I
could
mean,
be.
and in our situation, we can't assess it on your taxes, but whatever money we spend cleaning up, we can file a lien against the property.
File a lien, okay, yeah.
Well, it needs to be done, and now there's huge trees falling on it, it's just a mess. And the one across the street, in my opinion, is worse. So,
Could you have the sheriff come and talk to me when he gets back from his meeting, and
I'll be
I'll
glad to leave you
let
the
him.
pictures.
I'll be glad to we just need to find out what this crime scene thing is about, why we can't do something about it.
I mean, he didn't explain it, but I mean, that's what he told me, and
Yeah.
just needed to wait until this was resolved in some way before.
But if there's a
Going
safety
forward.
issue there, if there's a real safety issue there with children being around, animals being around,
My neighbor observed, there's like a kit that makes a Quonset building. The kids were running on the top of it, jumping on it and everything. I mean, all of that's just exposed to the public. There's nothing restricting any kind of access to this material. I don't know how it could be considered a crime scene. Okay, thank you.
I appreciate your coming, and we'll try to address this, ma'am, as soon as we can. Thank you. Josh Tubbs, our Economic Development Director, has something to address us with.
Judge, I guess it was the last fiscal court meeting, or maybe the one before that, I had addressed you all in executive session regarding the likelihood of a project locating in Calvert City. That project has made application to the Kentucky Economic Development Finance Authority for their incentives, and that will be taken up in July, the end of July. What I'm asking you all is the same thing I asked the Calvert City Council, and there's some changes because the application is a little different. I've communicated that to the mayor of Calvert City. The project essentially creates 84 jobs.
How many?
Sorry?
How many?
84. 84 jobs with an average salary of $31,000 a year. That's an average, so some are higher, some are lower. The investment over the next 15 years, I believe, will be almost $27 million. Because of confidentiality issues, I cannot talk about the details of the project, the company. All I can do is just relay this information because, number one, we want a letter of support, obviously, from the judge executive for this application. Number two, we also, in Marshall County, we are designated an enhanced county through the Kentucky Economic Development Cabinet. So basically what that means is that as far as the Kentucky Business Investment Incentive Program is concerned, the state will give a portion of their occupational tax back to the state, or back to the company. Normally, in a non-enhanced county, local government, whether it be the city and the county or either one, will commit up to 1% of their occupational tax as an added incentive. Since we are an enhanced county, we're not expected to do that by the Economic Development Cabinet. I'm addressing this with you because I would ask for the county fiscal court to commit to and I'll try to word this right, to commit to 0.5% of their occupational tax for the 84 jobs created over the next 10 years with this project. I've already addressed the Calvert City Council. They were, of course, open to providing that up to a certain amount of jobs. I believe it was 30 something jobs at the time. Those job numbers have changed, so that will need to be readdressed by the city council, and we'll hopefully get that approval as well. So anyway, I've got to get these support letters together for the application. I do need the fiscal court to take action on this before I write this letter. This is a way that we can be a part of this project. This project is locating on property not belonging to the city or the county, so our ability to provide an incentive would come in the form of an occupational tax or wage assessment.
All right, gentlemen, you've heard the request. We did talk about this earlier. 84 jobs sounds like a really good thing coming into Marshall County.
That's not a done deal, obviously.
The application's been submitted, yeah.
I mean, as far as they are coming, or they're coming on under conditions that they get these tax relief.
Yeah, the way that the process the way that the process always works is in the state of Kentucky, in order for a company to receive their tax incentives through the Economic Development Cabinet, they must make application prior to an announcement. So I can't speak for the company as to, their situation regarding an announcement. What I can tell you is that they have made application to the state Economic Development Finance Authority, which usually, at least in my experience, has led to an announcement afterward.
What was that average salary, Josh?
$31,000 a year.
Yeah, I think when you addressed us earlier, and I know I was at the Calvert City Council meeting when you addressed that body, that you were talking about 26 jobs.
Right.
Obviously, 84 at $31 is a whole lot better than 26, so if anything, that's a plus.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is there any reason to attach a minimum? Would furnish this if they create as many as at least
Yeah.
25 jobs and
Well,
up to 85 or whatever?
The way that for the sake of the county's language as far as offering the incentive, essentially what will have to happen is the company will need to get in touch with the treasurer's office to figure out how that's going to happen. If you guys approve it, what we can say is up to 84. So basically what that means is, if they let's say they come in and they open up shop and they only hire 25 people over that 10-year period, then they would only receive the incentive on those 25 jobs, not on
Understand.
calculated 84 jobs. So if they create 25 jobs, then they get the occupational tax, half of the occupational tax from the county and the city, 1% total back to the company. If they create 150 jobs, they only get that on the 84 jobs.
They will only get that on the original 84
Yes, ma'am.
that you're.
Yeah,
Okay.
and the ease of that is that we make it contingent upon the application to the KEDFA board, so that there's some consistency there. If this project would have come, 2 years ago, then we would have been expected to provide that 1% anyway.
Yeah.
The county's not losing anything because we're not getting, the city and the county's not getting anything from their occupational tax right now because those jobs don't exist. You're not losing anything by committing to a tax incentive of this kind, so.
Just giving a little.
Yeah, it's just.
Giving a little to get hopefully a lot.
It's just an incentive that we can offer.
I'd move that we go ahead and make that motion to allow the 0.5% for up to 84, is that what you wanted?
Right.
Up to 84 jobs for this project.
For
Second.
10 years, right?
For 10 years,
years.
that's, yeah.
Oh, there is a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Josh.
I'll have the letter drafted for your.
Sounds like good news for Marshall County.
Yes, ma'am.
Love to hear that. I don't have any more guests on my list and no correspondence, so we'll go into old business. Gentlemen, you've seen the minutes of the June 16th, 2015 meeting. I would entertain a motion to approve those.
Make that motion, Judge.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Jason, might I ask you to read this second reading? This is the second reading of ordinance number 2015-03.
Be it ordained by the Fiscal Court of Marshall County, Commonwealth of Kentucky, in accordance with the provisions set forth in KRS 189.3905A, and based upon the requests of affected citizens and after review by the Marshall County Road Superintendent, the Marshall County Fiscal Court does hereby set the speed limit at 25 miles per hour for all county-maintained roads in Kentucky Lake subdivision, being Forest Road, Peachtree Drive, Fisher Road, Ravenwood Circle, Corinth Road, Shore Lane, Hollow Hill Lane, Casey Lane, Lake Drive, Millbrook Lane, and Sugar Point Lane located in Marshall County, Kentucky.
Chigger Point sounds like a fun place. Chigger Point sounds like a fun place.
All right, gentlemen, you've heard the second reading of this ordinance. At this point, Mr. Attorney, do I ask them to approve this ordinance?
Yes.
Accept this ordinance? All right. Gentlemen, I would entertain a motion to approve this ordinance.
Motion to approve the ordinance, Judge.
And is there a second?
Second.
All right. Any discussion on this? All right, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Justin, I'll get to sign it. James L. Noth, are you here today? There he is. All right. The next item on our agenda, no business, is Denzel Martin Road. And we have Mr. Noth here that did the land survey. He has a copy, and we have a copy over here, I think.
I just brought the one that I have. I didn't bring it. I just
Got a copy over here.
We've got a copy,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, specifically, we did the survey in order to determine the right-of-way, and I felt like it was best to address the road in three separate places, which is why we use color. We did set our pins at 30 foot out because this area, the light blue, all the deeds call for 15 feet from the center line on both sides. The county does not have a deed for the road, so this is kind of misleading. This is, it's not really a 30-foot of county right-of-way. What it is people said, we're gonna set our pins at 15 feet out. So, the property between their line and the road is still probably owned by the people they bought it from. But the county does have what I would consider a prescriptive easement to use it. So this area, the county book calls the, gosh, I screwed this all. All right, let's start here. This road does not have a deed. It's not a deed to the road. So what we have is people have been using it and the county has blacktopped it. And, the book, county book calls for 24 feet of right of way. I don't know where this number came from, all right? 24 feet is just something pulled out. What, if we really dig into KRS about county roads without right of way, what they're gonna say is the edge of the blacktop or the back of the ditch, if there's a ditch. And it's really just an attempt for the county to maintain the roads. So we as we travel down Desert Martin Road, some people had some survey done. And they set their corner pins at 15 feet out of center. And again, we got this 50, which makes a 30-foot right of way. And again, we have this 30-foot number, which I don't know where it comes from. So
just everybody, said we're gonna go 30 feet. So what this does is this really makes a kind of confusing situation about the road. Does the county own the road? Because you have a deed that says, I own 15 foot from the center line of the county road. So you're thinking that from your deed property line to 15 foot out is the county. No, the county does not have a deed to that road. Again, we're still talking about the restrictive easement, but we have a strip of ground that has been provided for a county road, which is 30 feet. And title to that strip of ground resides in who really, what the judge decides, what it comes down to. But the county still has a easement, and I can say probably 30 foot there. I don't see that anybody could come back and say you don't have the right to maintain the county road for 30 feet wide there. However, again, we boil down to the fact that there is nothing in writing, and so we're still talking about easement by prescription. And the last part that we'll talk to, which is kind of technicality, the Silvernells, the cut the county road off here. County book comes to here. So we got this little green strip of ground, which the Silvernell deed says is their property, and the county road says the county road goes to. There's no cul-de-sac or anything, the road just kind of ends and the blacktop ends. When you talk about the issue of the water line, that's under there, under the road. Historically, municipalities have the right to run utilities along a water line, but also historically they give this right to water companies, electric companies, things like that. They don't necessarily give it to the individual. So, long story short, it is a county road. The county can maintain the blacktop, and I don't know about anything else. Definitively, I'll set my fence at 30 feet because part of the road calls for 30. And if I set it closer to the road and there was any type of road work, they don't survive. They're just gone. So I like the 30 feet. I know that I didn't give anybody any answers or help anybody, but the situation is, that's what we have.
Well, Mr. Noth, if I understand you correctly, what you can say with some degree of high confidence is that we at least have a 24-foot prescriptive easement for the blacktop. Am I reading you right?
What I can say with high confidence is that you have the right to maintain your road and the pertinent drainage ditches that go with it. Now, if you get to a portion of the road and there are no drainage ditches, then I don't think you can enforce the 24 feet. But if you get to a portion of that road where it's got a wide ditch, and it could be as much as 30 feet, but you have to maintain that ditch to maintain the road, then you probably have to ride. But that's why, that's why the county is saying a 24-foot distance, because that probably covers all the ditches. And it's a lot easier to say, I've got a 24-foot right away through here than it is to say, wherever this ditch is, where you got the right to maintain it. Typically, it's the back of the ditch or top of the road.
And historically, that would be based on past use then for a prescriptive easement, as far as what the county has done in the past, as far as how wide it goes.
Possibly, I would say yes. I would say past use. Now, yeah, but we're still gonna be over there arguing over where the top of the bank is or was. So that's what it is.
Certainly, then it's the blacktop and possibly extends out to the backside of a ditch.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Anywhere there's a drainage ditch in there, there are places where the road has drainage ditches, there are places when it doesn't. But anywhere there's a possibility that the ditch could get stopped up and water or any debris could be backed up on the road, the county has the right to clean that, clear
To
that.
protect its road. But along that first portion, there's a fence right at the edge of the blacktop, right?
Yes, yes. And there is no, when you first pull in off the highway, there's kind of a road bank and the fence isn't right there, but when you get up there, there isn't, a road bank in there, but the fence is right there. And I showed on this survey. show it right there, and it's actually inside the 15-foot. So we said fence, we crossed the fence and said fence. He didn't like that very much. But, you know, I said, we do have, and, you know, like I said, what's confusing is we do have these deeds would say 15 feet out, this is a 30-foot county road. But, until there's a deed to the county and the county, except there's, you know, until this deed is, there's no, I can say you know, you own it, that doesn't make, you own this right here, but you don't own it.
The first section doesn't show a right of way.
No. And I ran this deed back to 1917. So, now, having said that, I've got some maps when TVA did some surveying the area, and it shows the road that ran in there. But there again, that just, in that area, there was a road, but that just goes to show that there was a road, and that people use it, have been using it for a long time. And I don't think anybody's trying to say it's not a road at this point, so.
I have one other issue that's been raised. Apparently on Mr. Davis's property, there's been a pin left sticking up that he's concerned about his horse stepping on.
We will go back and check them. I thought we drove them all flush with the ground, so that I'm over.
Okay, well, there was just that, we had, concern was raised.
Well, I talked to Mr. Davis today, we were sitting, he did the same.
Okay. He might want to talk to you today while you're here.
Mr. Attorney, has this helped us in any way to make
Well,
any
it just-
determination?
Based on our review of the deeds, it confirms what we suspected, is that we have a right-of-way that is limited basically to the, for certain, to the blacktop. And it does, I don't guess it, whether it helps the situation or not, I say it doesn't, but it does clarify what this court's position should be on the issue.
Gentlemen? Do you have any thoughts on this?
It doesn't appear we have really any authority over anything other than the pavement, at least on a good portion of the road.
So the pavement is the only thing that we have any say-so, is what? Okay.
For most of it.
For most of
Yeah,
it.
for the first
So
portion.
if these people get water, it's going to have to go through that pavement, unless there's another option for them to take the water through another route.
That
Well,
would be a very
depending on
good
where-
option, in my opinion,
Yeah.
ignoring
Yeah.
anybody's.
Well, and I don't know, but I've been told that there are some other options as far as going through other property.
And disturb a 5-foot wide path of heavy equipment to go through densely wooded marshy land to be able to lay a pipe when there's already no grass, where it would be much less invasive than a simple trencher. I guess,
That may be, but if we don't have the authority to have, for the right-of-way, then we don't have the authority to say one way or the other.
so a water line that has been there for over 40 years, we have no right to maintain.
Well, there's a possibility that you would have your own,
I have from the water company that it is.
there's a possibility that you would have your own easement that you could enforce.
When we bought the property, there was no listed easement. We had no clue.
Well, not necessarily listed, but it would be prescriptive, just like we have. I mean, there's a possibility that you would have, and I'm not saying that you do. I'm just saying that there could be private enforcement on your part, possibly. I'm just saying possibly.
So then, the people who paid to have surveys done, and the road goes, it says 15 foot, you guys have the right to come and mow all along there, but once it gets to that front section where they just haven't had a survey done, it ends at the blacktop? Or does that mean that the rest of us own all the way to the blacktop?
Well, it's like he said, it may still belong to the original owners. Whoever did those deeds and put those descriptions in those deeds, I don't know what they were basing it on. It wasn't based on the,
Probably just the fact that it was a standard county road.
That's not, see,
They just said,
it's
oh,
a standard, hasn't
no,
been
it's-
standard in 30 years. See, the protection and the reason that, you have this process to go through for it to actually be a county road is, many times you could take and sell 5 lots off the back of your property, and you've got a little gravel dirt road, and you say that's a county road. Well, you know, but then 5 people live back there, it's not a county road, because the county didn't accept it. This, actually, Denzel Martin Road today would not be accepted in the road system. It's not wide enough. I don't know about the, you know, the underneath the asphalt, I don't know if the asphalt's thick enough, but it had to be, what, 20 foot wide to be in this county road system now? Have to have a cul-de-sac at the end of it, have to have 40 foot of right of way, that's 20 foot out of center on both sides. So they wouldn't accept it today as a
Now,
county
what about
road.
existing utility lines? Like, there's an existing AT&T line that runs all the way down the road, zigzagging all the way back.
Well, down the road or down the property
No,
beside?
it's on the, it goes back and forth on either side of the properties for all the phone lines. When we called AT&T under the 811 dig, they were able to confirm that the line zigzags across.
Well, they probably have an existing easement on the right of way and on the property adjoining it.
So how would they get that easement if there wasn't one already existing, is what I'm saying?
Well, they either got permission or something way back when they did it, I assume.
So do
Jeff,
I
let me
need to,
clarify, the phone line that's in question is under the middle of the road.
that's not what AT&T told me when I called the 811 dig.
So
It's in the, under the middle of the road, I'll assure you.
Well, I'm not willing to take a
It's been
$10,000
dug
fine.
up.
I mean, that, apparently,
do
I
I
don't
need
know
to
how
go
it got
back?
under the road, or, you know, that all happened years and years and years ago, and, obviously, putting it under the pavement is not a good idea, because if it's gonna be maintained, then whenever they maintain it, they're gonna have to, fix the road.
So we were sold a house that has no rights to the water meter at the front. And because the North Marshall Water District does not want water lines down that road, every other person who currently has lines going through other people's property without an easement is also no longer going to be able to maintain their water lines and be forced into the same situation. Because our water line at this point, there's definitely areas where it is currently under the blacktop, because the blacktop was put in after, which is
Yeah,
part
I
of
mean,
why we haven't been
if
able to
the-
maintain it.
Yeah, I mean, you can privately enforce it. Your water line's on somebody else's property, you can privately enforce that. Yeah, because of its existence. But this court doesn't have the authority to authorize anything outside what they pay.
I guess I just think it's a sad situation for the county people who pay taxes to suddenly be told that when they bought property on what was considered to be a county road for all intents and purposes, suddenly does not have what is considered to be a standard right-of-way by all other standards when you look at county roads. And it sucks 3 years after purchasing a home to suddenly find out that we're in this position. I guess it just makes me sad and makes me wonder how many other residents of Marshall County may be in the same boat as us, 5, 10 years, or even 2 weeks down the line.
There may be several. We actually have a situation where there's a subdivision in my district that the people were told would be a county road, and the subdivision, the developer never did pave it. He took money from the people to take care of the road, and he didn't take care of it, but it wasn't. It's still, they've been trying to get it in the county system, but they can't get it in because, I mean, he told them all those things, but they weren't true. And you know, the county wasn't responsible for what he was telling those people. And the same kind of thing when you purchased that property, whoever you purchased it from, maybe who you need to go back to, I don't know. But the county doesn't have the authority.
But if the county's maintaining it and it's listed under county maintenance and it's a named road, I think that's a little different than somebody thinking that it's gonna get accepted. My question is, for every other road in this county that didn't go in under the laws that you guys have recently put forth to avoid this, what are we to do when this kind of situation arises? I think it,
Well, you have private rights
so we're all
against,
supposed to take a lawyer and go fight it in court instead of the county
yeah,
having
in a
any
civil
concern?
system, that's the way it works.
But my thought is, if we're paying the county and this is being maintained by the county, I would think there would be some interest of the county to, at least for the sake of the citizens here, to put some sort of amendment or something in writing to permanently say, this is how we view these other roads that have been there before this law. I mean, at this point, it's not even just about our water line. I mean, I'm concerned about that, obviously. I'd like to not have, 1,000 gallons a day being lost in water. But at this point, I'm thinking, man, we've gone through this process for 2 months here in court, and not everybody has thousands of dollars to go spend on a lawyer to get it situated, nor I guess I thought, you know, everybody wanted the citizens to have county water, and so now what we're looking at is either try and go through 3 other people's property or spend 8 to 10 grand to drill a well and hope it's potable water.
Well, okay, here's the thing. This court can't police every water line in this
Right,
county.
I get that.
Let me finish.
Okay.
And they will you know, what they have done is tried to maintain a county road there as much as possible. Because this, you know, 50 years ago, these were dirt roads and gravel roads, and they progressed, and luckily in Marshall County, every county road is blacktop. But you know, the folks that built there and got that water determined the means that water would get to them. You know, the county, this court, obviously, if we had full-blown county zoning and you know, you had to have any county road had to have a right-of-way for easements and utilities and all that, you know, that would be perfect, but that's not the way it is. You know, a lot of these, in a rural county like this, when these properties were developed, somebody chose, that owner, whoever got the water, chose how they got it. And it's not anything that the local government can control. That's their own person's.
And I don't mean to sound unappreciative. I appreciate the work that was done before, and I understand things were done differently. My concern is, for other people in situations like ours, what can we do going forward to set some sort of standard so that people don't they know right away, well, this is what the law says.
Since, for the last 18 years, any road that we've taken in is fully deeded or dedicated to the county. And with enough right-of-way and acknowledgement of where you know, so that you know, the surveyors, I've been, you know, the court has not always been happy with me because I say, well, we need to get this surveyed to know exactly what, but for the future, every road that's been taken in this last 18 years we know exactly where it is and what we've got. So, I mean, it's part of being progressive in that, you know, the only way to get a lot of these roads were, in the beginning, 50 or 60 years ago, were roads that were already being used. Right. And you didn't, you know, the state laws on taking in county roads have changed a half dozen times since 1970. So, you know, because there at one point in time, state law and what this fiscal court did was any road that existed before May of 1974, I think was the magic date, became a county road. And then we had the issue over the churches, or not churches, graveyards. And we had a court action that said that suddenly ordered that every road to a cemetery is a county road. You know, so things change in the law all the time, and unfortunately, you're in a situation where you've got a neighborhood where the neighbors don't get along, and that's where we are here.
I certainly am sorry about your dilemma, but I think we've heard the county attorney speak here that at this point, this court has nothing that they can do in regard to this. I hope you can work out something with your neighbors. I hope something can be worked out. I know you have a real problem with your water situation there. Gentlemen, have you got anything else to add to that? We've tried, we really have. I know, we got this survey done, hoping that there would be something, you know, but I think it just told us basically what we had already gathered before was we can't do anything about that right of way. It is what it is. Thank you, Mr. Knowles, for coming and bringing us your report.
I would suggest, with the court if the court authorized us to record
Oh,
this.
yeah, Jeff would like to have this survey recorded. Is there a motion on that?
Make that motion.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, thank you, Mr. Knopf. We will get that recorded, Jeff. Make a note on that, Justin.
What does recording the survey?
This means it's of record in the county.
It's official record.
But it doesn't mean that any of the parameters set on there are official?
No, it doesn't change anything other than the county paid for a survey, and rather than it be filed away, I think it ought to be preserved downstairs to show that 18 years from now, when this court has changed 2 or 3 more times, you know, if we look back, I want to be
We've
able to
got
have
that
a
to
record to
look
rely
at.
on, to know where we
Information.
were today.
Okay, at this point, Emily, we've got the telecom audit report, and can you explain to the gentleman what we found out from Mr., what was his name? Wesley
Overton.
Overton?
Can I borrow your report? I didn't,
Yes.
I failed to bring mine.
Chris-
We met with Mr. Overton. He identified several reductions that he can make. We do have several lines that will remain intact that aren't a part of our phone system that's going to be replaced. Those that aren't located in this building, and then fax lines, elevator, the emergency lines in the elevator, things like that. He found several taxes that are associated with the phone bills that we are exempt from, so that he's going back to collect, to remove that tax. And then we can collect on previous tax paid for a given portion of time. Found a few other little wire maintenance fees, things like that, he recommended that we not use, because you can replace the jack or something like that for, less than $10 ourselves, and these fees are between $4 and $10 a month that we've been paying. So, he's asked us, and Shirley and I agreed and authorized him to remove these charges from the bill. There's, again, several taxes on there that, he also identified a state bid rate for the phone lines, where we were paying between $49 a month up to $82 a month for the phone lines, where the state has a bid price of $22 a month. So he's going
Is that
to.
long distance?
No, that's
No,
just the
something
line
else. Okay,
charge.
okay.
So he's going to get that coded in to where we can reduce the rate to $22 per line. They also identified 2 circuits that are not active. These circuits run about $1,000 a month, and they're not anything that we could have tested ourselves or anything like that. So this is something that he's got to research with AT&T, but he can collect on historically up to 6 years ago. But he's still got some research to do before we know the final figure in that we would recoup. But there is some money there. At very best, that $1,000 was eliminated going forward. Internet charges, he had the same thing. He's found a discount program that it works through the state, so we're able to reduce the charges that we've been paying for internet costs down like $500.
Reduce or recoup?
Reduce.
Okay, that's just going forward. That's not,
Correct.
we
Yeah.
can't recoup
Yeah, he's gonna
anything
change
that's
the
happened in the
coding.
past.
Right. All of this is not related to our current phone system. It is on the lines that minus those 2 circuits that he's going to try to recoup. That's the only recouping fees. All of this is going forward, is what he's going to do.
In the future.
Yes. So there's also about $500 a month in maintenance charges. That's for lightning. It's kind of like an insurance, but, we have insurance in the bill, our own insurance, so we've asked him to eliminate that service. So there's another $500. There were 2 lines that had a different type of long distance associated with them that was running $1.32 a minute. He's switching that over to PowerNet, which is what our other lines are through, that's 10 cents a minute. So that's savings going forward. Overall, and this is subject to him getting everything implemented. Overall, it looks like probably it's about $2,500 a month. And then also going forward, from that $2,500 a month, they will then bill us $1,250 for 18 months for finding and correcting this issue, so that we still wind up saving $1,200 a month, but after 18 months, it'll be almost $3,000.
Then we'll clear,
Yeah.
all of it.
Yeah.
Is this the gentleman that came before us a couple of months ago? And that wasn't the way I understood the program, but I understand and appreciate the savings, but I understood that of the monies that he recouped on past phone bills and so forth, I didn't understand we shoot
Yeah.
out into the future and things that, that our new
And
providers in Calvert City and
Right. And I think,
could tell us the very same thing. I didn't understand apparently that it shot out in 18 months into the future. I thought it was just recouping what we had paid in the past.
and I think that
Anybody else
came
understand
from
that?
where I assumed that the majority of the savings were gonna come from our phone system and that Centrex, that big Centrex bill that has so many people chunked into it. And it's not, it's coming from, as far as future savings, it's
Right.
coming from those individual lines that
But
we're paying
I would
for.
hope our new carriers are going to take care of that. We've got two very competent carriers, or I think they're very competent, and like I say, I was under the wrong impression. I didn't think I thought it was just recoup monies, and I would, don't you think that the people we've contracted with, the two companies, they're very capable of doing the same thing that these people did at no cost, or just, the day-to-day
Well, no, this was.
operations?
No, this is a different type thing. It's not got anything to do with the new phone system. This is only on bills that would remain intact. And I don't know that they do have those capabilities to go into.
These are the lines that do remain intact?
Yes,
Okay, I
yes,
didn't
yeah,
understand
yes,
that either.
yes, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and we
he's
still
still-
haven't got a
And
full
we,
report.
and we still recoup it. What they don't
Oh, I
bill-
understand that.
They
It's-
still don't bill us until after we have actual savings.
We won't pay them anything until we see actually what we save,
Right,
and then
I
we will
understand that.
give them half of whatever we are saving, which we are saving.
For
Still.
18 months.
For 18 months is as far
And
as
then the
that goes
savings
out.
are all
Now, we
ours.
are not completely into being informed on what we're going to recoup from the last, we can go back
Right.
6 years,
Right.
right?
Right.
Well, he talked to me and asked me what our statute of limitations were in Kentucky on written contracts, and I told him 15 years, and he started doing backflips on the phone. He was so excited.
Yeah, so, I mean, it could be even more, because we do have a statute of limitations that
He
goes
said, I
longer
mean,
than
he said, "I
most
don't wanna-"
states they've worked with.
He said, I don't want to, give you these grandiose expectations, but I mean, he was very excited that he could go back 15 years.
This report that was given to us is strictly on these, did he call these POTS lines? These are the
Yeah.
lines that are going to stay even when we
Right,
get our new
right.
system, because we can't replace them.
Right,
These are the lines that he's saving us money on,
right.
and their charge is simply going to be half of whatever we're saving.
Right.
We're still going to be spending money on these lines. It's not like, and we can
Right.
collect some of it, I think, the way he talked, can't we? So, yeah, I understand. I'm not sure I understood that all either, but after I got to talking, I did get it in my head. He did mention the 18 months at one point during that presentation. So,
Well, I have no problem with the process. Obviously, if there's been taxpayers' money wasted for a number of years, this procedure needs to be followed more regularly than
well, it's obvious that we
right
didn't
now.
know that we were being
Right,
overcharged on a
that's why
lot
this
of things.
procedure needs to be,
And I think a
take
lot of
place
people are
more
going to be glad to
frequently.
work with this gentleman, because they're very good at finding all those
I
hidden
agree.
charges.
I
So,
agree. We just need to do it on a more frequent basis.
yeah, I'm thrilled we're going to be able to get some money back for the county, definitely. But anyway, we wanted to bring you up on that report and get you brought up on the telecom audit people. Just wanted to give you that information. Nothing needs to be done on that at this time. The next thing on the agenda is the Clio Smart Path contract agreement changes. Somehow we, on the 19th, we voted to go with them, May the 19th, in that meeting to go with the Clio Smart Path, merging together to take care of our IT system. We didn't get the contract signed, and it got brought to my attention when they called that we'd like to have a copy of the signed contract, and it's like, didn't have one because we hadn't got it signed yet. At that time, when I found the contract, I located it, Andy Lepisto, I think Melanie had given it to him to look at, and he didn't understand that needed to be brought back to us, and then in the meantime, Melanie was gone for a while. But at this point, I give the contracts to Jason and say, Jason, look these over, because of course, the wording on them is very, very difficult to interpret from someone that's not familiar with that type of language that our attorneys are. They looked at them, and Jason found several things that he said, no, we can't do this. We can't go along with this. We've got to get this reworded. So I do have a letter to send out to them. Did I put a copy of that in your boxes?
I think so.
Okay. Well, I've got copies here, and I'm sending one to Kaleo, and we're sending one to Smart Path, and we're asking them to make these changes, to address these changes, and if they have any questions, I've asked them to talk to Jason or Jeff and let them work out the language on the contracts to where it's easier for us to accept. Because at this point, he doesn't think we're able to accept what they've got on the contract. Do you have copies of the contract? And I'll also get you those.
Just need I'd like to see the changes.
Okay, well, I've got the if you'll come down after the meeting, I'll give you copies of the contract and the copy of the letter with the changes on it also.
Are they self-explanatory to the untrained legal mind?
Yeah, I mean, really the things that I didn't like about either one of the contracts is that it put caps on their exposure to a pretty good degree.
Right.
And then one of them had where the prevailing party would be entitled to attorney's fees. I didn't like that.
Caps that weren't reasonable, you thought, in your opinion?
Well, possibly, yeah. I mean,
Right.
one of them was $1 million, and I mean, who's to say that
Right.
that's I'm no IT expert, but I mean.
Sounds big, but
Right.
not as big as it always sounds, is it, $1 million?
Another issue was,
Goes boom.
trying to think now.
Limitations on ability to bring suit
Right.
in event of something going wrong.
And one of them had basically absolved them of liability for loss of data, which I didn't think that was.
Loss of what?
Loss of data. And of course, they're handling our data. I think if they
So
lose
fiscal
it.
court retains the right to bring action in the event loss of data due to negligent, gross negligence, or willful or want act of providers. So
Yeah,
evidently, they said they put in there that they couldn't be held responsible for that, but.
That reminds me of another one. There was another, I can't remember which one it was, but it said that they would only be liable in the event of
30-day opt-out?
gross negligence or willful misconduct, which would, under that language, would absolve them of just ordinary negligence. So, I mean, I didn't agree with that
And
at
then
all.
he also asked them to provide certificates of insurance showing proof of errors and omissions coverage. So anyway, we're sitting here, we're not into a contract with them at this time because we have to get this changed. But again, that's bringing that up for your information so that you'll understand why we're in the point we are now with them. And I will be sending these letters out this afternoon. The next thing on the agenda is a IT server storage agreement. Is Andy still here? Yeah, do you want to come up and give him a little, before we sign this?
This is basically just some lawyerese kind of stuff for these guys. I think mainly if something happens where I'm not in place anymore, or if the people at the library aren't in place anymore, at least there's some kind of a written understanding of what it was. All we're doing now is we have a server down in the judicial building, which we use for off-site backups. So if something happens here locally, a fire in the building, we've got another building to go to. I talked to Wes at the library about the possibility of taking that server and putting it in their location in Calvert City. So we've got, rather than having, a mile and a half of difference, we've got, 12, 15 miles of difference. They said, yep, that's fine, no problem. They won't charge us anything for that. But if anything else, just to put something on paper so that we do have a record of, hey, this was the agreement, everybody's okay with it. Just to explain it if anybody has any questions later on. But essentially, they're not charging us anything to do it. It's just saying that they're allowing us to put our server in there, and that they won't be, liable for any
They
damages.
won't be liable or responsible if
Right,
anything
yeah,
happens to it.
it's our equipment, essentially.
They're just allowing us to use their space to take care of a very important piece of equipment.
That's exactly right.
So if there were any disaster that affected this particular area, we'd still have that backup. Again, until we get this contract signed, I don't know if I really need to address this or sign this.
I've already looked at that one.
Yeah, it's okay, but I mean, till
Well,
we get things
that's
set in
totally separate.
place.
That agreement can exist in and of itself
Even-
outside of
okay,
any agreements
okay.
with Kaleo
All
or
right.
SmartPath.
Then I will sign that this afternoon. Make a note on that, Justin.
We just need to make sure that since we're storing something off-site, that our insurance would cover that in the event of some kind of natural disaster, fire, wind damage, whatever.
Okay, Cole?
Would it be the same, I mean,
That'd be great.
the insurance coverage is the same on the libraries as it is here, isn't it?
Yeah.
We can check on it, but it should be.
I don't know that the library's coverage would necessarily provide coverage
Coverage
for that, so we just need to make sure that our stuff over there is being covered.
At one point, I thought we were gonna back up to some location like Atlanta or somewhere.
We will. That's our third step is
Okay.
is outside of the region. But this is an area that we can get to. The problem with really that third step offsite is that you really want to have that and hope you never have to use it, because you can store tons of data in the cloud, but getting that data back in a timely manner is difficult. So you always want to make sure that you have something that you can get to relatively quickly. And for our purposes, that will be at the Calvert City Library, assuming that we sign this contract.
Okay.
All right, thank you. And that concludes our old business. We'll move on to new business. And at this point, we need to break into executive session to discuss some personnel and property issues.
Make a motion to go in executive session, Judge.
There's a motion, is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
At J&R Pharmacy, you get the best of both worlds. A modern building and convenient location with all the latest technology. And prompt, friendly service, taking the time to answer your questions, and a commitment to your good health and customer satisfaction. If you enjoy all the benefits of a hometown pharmacy, you'll love J&R Pharmacy, featuring a drive-by window for added convenience. J&R Pharmacy, corner of 9th and Main in Benton.
Call the fiscal court meeting back into session. After our executive session, we had personnel and property issues to address. There was no resolution on any of those. Do you have any other statement to make on
No.
that, Mr. Attorney? All right. The next thing on our agenda is from FEMA. We've been asked to do a designation of applicant agent. This is to do with our claim with FEMA on the winter storm. And since Darlene Lynn was the person that attended the meetings on that, I would like to name her as the designated applicant agent for this. I would like to entertain a motion to give her that
So
position.
moved, Judge.
All right,
Second.
is there a second?
Second.
Any opposed? All those in favor? Say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. I'm trying to hurry up because we do have some court members that need to be somewhere in a particular time, so try not to get too distracted. The next thing on our agenda, Palmer-Brownsburg Board appointments. We have 2 appointments here that need to be done. Judge Miller, appointed trustee is what this is in regard to. On June 30th, 2015, Mr. Nick Darnell's term as appointed trustee is slated to expire. Mr. Darnell currently serves as the board's treasurer and has indicated his willingness to continue to serve as an appointed trustee. Mr. Darnell's address is, and we'll go over that. If you have any questions regarding this matter, please feel free. I would like to entertain a motion to reappoint Mr. Darnell.
Move to reappoint.
All right, is there a second? Any questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Not his.
Nick? I was thinking we did.
You thinking about the last meeting? No. We haven't done this, have we? We did?
He's really confirmed now.
Yeah, he's actually.
Well, did we also do Mr. Corsi?
I thought I remembered Nick.
Okay, this is a firefighter trustee election result.
That's the end of the month, that's the last.
Okay, all right.
When that happens.
All right, so in the same manner, on June 27th, 2015, a firefighter trustee election was held pursuant to KRS 75.0312. Danny Corsi, 58 Corsi Lane, Benton, Kentucky, was elected. Mr. Corsi was previously appointed to fill the vacancy of firefighter trustee due to vacancy. So at this point, I think they want to have him appointed. He was previously appointed, but now he hasn't been elected. All right, is there a motion to reappoint him?
Make that motion.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, I now have a resolution that Jason is going to read to.
Emily.
Emily's busy.
I got it.
I thought he already had them.
Okay, this is a Marshall County Fiscal Court resolution regarding Action Incorporated. Whereas Action Incorporated was established on January 30th, 1984 as a nonprofit entity to promote the achievement and development of Marshall County, Kentucky, industrial and commercially by sponsoring, aiding, and assisting any industrial project or manufacturing or commercial organization or project that might propagate and promote the welfare of the citizens of Marshall County. And whereas said entity has been inactive for some time, and Opportunity Marshall, Inc., a nonprofit entity, serves a similar purpose, be it resolved, Marshall County Fiscal Court approves the dissolution of Action Incorporated and authorizes the transfer of its funds to Opportunity Marshall Incorporated.
All right, thank you.
I
Justin, do
didn't
you
hear
want
the
to
last
explain,
of
I
it.
mean, Josh, do you want to explain this
Yeah,
to
I
him
made that
about what's
last
going
line.
on this resolution?
Transfer the funds to Opportunity Marshall.
Transfer the funds.
There was some money left in an account.
Action Inc.,
And a
which was
significant
formed-
amount of money, wasn't there?
$34,000 is left in Action Inc. It's been sitting there for some time inactive.
Yeah.
The board has been inactive, and the two remaining board members that are in place are Miss Betsy Flynn and Don Heiss. I spoke with both of them. Miss Betsy has signed their articles of dissolution, and so has Mr. Heiss. So the way that this was set up in the past, and I'm not familiar with Action Inc., I've just maintained got the statements from the bank over the years. The way that this is set up is that once this group is dissolved, it has to go, the remaining funds have to go to a similar nonprofit incorporated entity that serves the same purpose as Action Inc. So in this case, we're transferring the funds, or Action Inc. is transferring the funds to Opportunity Marshall Inc., which is a nonprofit, essentially the foundation for an economic development corporation. So we can ensure that those funds will be used, in a manner that meets the requirements of Action Incorporated.
Yeah, the Action Inc. Bylaws state if it was ever dissolved, then that money, if there were any monies, they would be transferred to a similar type organization.
Okay, gentlemen, are there any questions regarding that?
To approve the resolution.
All right.
And I don't think that necessarily that it takes your vote to dissolve this organization.
Right.
That's corporate in Kentucky, and the current directors can do that. But they wanted some, your approval to that, that
That's something that
this
shows
this
what we're-
opportunity, Marshall, was something that you all felt like was similar and an organization that you support.
Yeah, that does not require a vote, in other words, just the blessings.
But yeah, I mean, they,
We're gonna
yeah,
approve
she,
this resolution.
yeah, she
Yeah,
wanted,
we're
they
gonna approve
wanted,
the resolution, and we have to sign it also.
but the state of Kentucky doesn't care whether you vote for it or not.
Okay, is there a second? Second. All right. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. So what I need to do is pass this down, let each one of you sign that. It's just the form like we do on the other resolutions.
I'll ensure that the documents get to the state, Secretary of State.
No.
Or actually, I guess the
No,
only
no,
document.
you've got the
needs-
dissolution document for the state.
Yeah, I'll send that to the state. This is just for,
I gave him a copy to read.
Opportunity, Marshall County.
Marshall.
Since you got all this other stuff to do.
Yeah, he's got him.
All right, gentlemen, the next resolution we have is in regard to closing the OEM account. I think you all know what that's all about and understand what's going on with that. I'll let Jason read that for us.
Fiscal Court of Marshall County does hereby resolve as follows, whereas the Marshall County Fiscal Court hereby resolved that banking current account number XXXX15 with CFSB P.O. Box 467, Benton, Kentucky, be closed, and the amount, if any, lying in the said account be forwarded to the Marshall County Fiscal Court by way of issuance of banker's check payable to the Marshall County Fiscal Court, and the Marshall County Judge Executive and Marshall County Treasurer be and are hereby authorized to do all such acts, deeds, and things, to sign all such documents, papers, and writings as may be deemed necessary in this regard. Resolve further that the above Marshall County Judge Executive, Marshall County Treasurer be and are hereby severally jointly authorized to do such acts, deeds, and things, and to sign all such documents as may be required in connection with the closure of the said account. Just to be on the safe side, I went and I marked through the first 5 numbers on the account.
Oh, okay. All right. Did you black those out? Okay. All right, gentlemen, I would entertain a motion to approve this resolution, closing the OEM account, which is the Office of Emergency Management.
So moved, Judge.
All right, is there a second?
Now, where we, how'd we, I know wasn't it overdrawn or?
Yeah, that account is now current. There is no balance in it, so there won't be any monies coming back from that account, but it is current. We just needed the resolution to close it with the bank,
Our
to officially close
financial
it.
officer at CFSB advised that we needed to do a resolution to close this out and make sure that, I guess,
We-
public record.
Yeah, it has been
We
suspended.
we made it all even out on the
Yes.
uppity up.
Yes, yes.
And, is that correct, Attorney?
Yes, yeah,
Yes.
that's what I'm advised.
Did I call for the vote?
No, not yet.
All
Well,
right.
we discussed
All
it.
those- Okay, is there a motion?
We had a motion and a second.
Okay, and a second. All right, all those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. And the next one, Jason, if you would read for the GIS banking account.
Whereas the Marshall County Fiscal Court hereby resolved that the Marshall County GIS banking current account number XXXX17 with CFSB P.O. Box 467, Benton, Kentucky, be closed, and the amount, if any, lying in the said account be forwarded to the Marshall County Fiscal Court by way of issuance of banker's check payable to the Marshall County Fiscal Court, and the Marshall County Judge Executive and Marshall County Treasurer be and are hereby authorized to do all such acts, deeds, and things, and to sign such all documents, papers, and writing as may be deemed necessary in this regard. Resolve further that the above Marshall County Judge Executive and Marshall County Treasurer be and are hereby severally jointly authorized to do all such acts, deeds, and things, and to sign all such documents as may be required in connection with the closure of the said account.
All right, gentlemen, this is account we discussed, I think, earlier this year, you know about it, in the GIS office, and we've determined that we can take that now and put that into the general fund? Is that what we're doing?
Yes.
So I'd entertain a motion to.
So moved, Judge.
There's a motion by Commissioner Pop. Is there a second?
Second? And I want to be clear that wasn't any issues with the account. It's
No.
just-
No issues with it. We just decided that we don't need it there anymore. We need it.
That's correct.
Better
back
accounting
into the
principles.
general-
Better, yeah.
Better
for
accounting
purposes,
principles,
it
yes.
is. Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Do you also want us to cross those numbers out on that one? Yes.
Except for the last two.
Except for the last two. There you go. Now, we've got the resolutions carried, and I think right now we can turn it over to Emily. She's going to finalize and clear up our 2014-15 financial year, correct?
Yes.
Fiscal year.
Yes.
All right.
I've given you a copy of my budget appropriation transfers. It's lengthy, there's 4 pages, but they zero out. That's what your transfers need to balance out to zero. Most of the departments wound up within their budgets. We did have a couple of issues that we needed to cover out of reserves, but I did wind up transferring $85,175 out of reserves to cover different items. Most of those items are grants that were either in the prior year or we just recently received, and you don't have time to do a budget amendment because it takes 2 readings and a bunch of stuff like that. So just to get our appropriations, though, to balance out, I did have to move $85,000 out of reserves, just in the line items.
Can we get a list of what those were?
Yes, yes. You should have had
Okay,
one in your
okay.
box, but.
Talking about this?
Yes.
Is that the
Okay.
highlighted
Yes.
items?
Yes, the highlighted items
Okay.
are the ones that dealt with reserves.
I'll let you have mine.
No, that's good. I'll get one. I just-
Okay, yeah, I'll be happy to get you one. I just need a motion to approve those transfers.
Okay, all right, gentlemen, I would entertain a motion to approve the appropriation transfer.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second?
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Do you want me to sign your copy or this copy, or?
That one. Just need one on record. Okay. My intra-fund transfer, I'm going to ask to move $440,000 out of occupational tax administrator to general fund and $770,000 out of occupational tax administrator to the road fund.
All right, gentlemen, you've heard the request. I would entertain a motion to approve this.
Motion to approve, Judge.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Emily, probably not related, but the flex money, we have not gotten that. Is that overdue? I just asked Russell about a road yesterday.
We haven't got anything back on that I'm aware of.
They
Ain't
have,
done no blacktopping on flex fund.
well, I realized that was a question I had with you yesterday, but
Yeah, and some of that will be impacted so that probably next budget year, because we've got about 200,000, maybe 3, in the hospital road that our funds are tied up right now, and that I'll get that money back, but it's gonna fall into next fiscal year. So probably it will be a longer period of time before I'm gonna have to transfer more money into the road fund, because we'll be recouping some of that from the state.
Do you want these? Those are the ones I've signed. All right, the approval to comp time earned, winter storm 2015, that's Emily.
We had discussed previously, paying out comp time for the salaried employees of the road department that were earned during the 2 winter disasters. it totals up to about $7,000, $7,117. I just needed your approval to pay that out just for those comp hours earned during that special type disaster.
So moved. I have, go ahead.
Is this money that, when we get money from FEMA, this is what's covering that?
It may apply, sometimes FEMA will pay on
Yeah,
it.
If it qualifies, yeah.
Those hours usually do apply, or you turn it in anyway,
Yeah.
whether they pay it or
Yeah,
not.
yes, that's up to them, that's
Right.
their discretion, but
I think we're probably gonna be very fortunate to be able to get back what we had with the road department. the military.
Right,
We're hearing that we're probably not gonna be so fortunate with the rescue squad or the
right.
emergency management's office, that's not gonna qualify. But we will recoup, I think, some of the money that we had to spend.
I think something though going forward though, when we consider policy changes in the future, that maybe that we consider that we do pay out any comp time earned during declared disaster for salaried employees. So that,
Certainly, those people didn't have an option like the
So-
people in the courthouse did. They had
Exactly.
to come in and do their
I
job, so
didn't
they're
go
very
there.
deserving. In my opinion, they're
And
very
a lot of times
deserving.
they get, I mean, and we can get it back, but we have to pay it
right,
out before we can
exactly,
put it down to get
yes,
it back.
yes. So I think that'd be a good policy to consider adopting.
So, who made that motion?
I did.
Doc.
Okay, Commissioner Pop made a motion to approve, there's a second by Commissioner Bowman. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, training incentive, Emily.
I gave you all a copy of my recertification notice from DLG, and that's for my treasurer's recertification, so that my training incentive can be approved for next, it will be dated in July, though, it will be for next fiscal year.
All right, Jim, and you got a copy of that, and see that, her training incentive? I would entertain a motion to approve.
Motion to approve that incentive.
There's a motion by Commissioner Felder, second by Commissioner Boland. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. The next thing on the agenda that I have, the last thing on the agenda, unless somebody brings something else up, is approve the payment of the bills. I would entertain a motion to approve
To
the payment of
approve the bills, Judge.
So done, second by,
Second.
all right, Commissioner Boland seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Gentlemen, do you have anything else?
I do. One announcement, on Saturday, July 18th, here on the west side of the courthouse, will be the 100-year celebration. It starts at 11 through 2. Will be a time capsule unveiling and reburial with, we'll have some street musicians, and at 2 o'clock, the Benton Women's Club suffrage event which will be at 1208 Shelby McCollum Drive, former home of Senator Dykes.
All right. So everyone try to remember and tell your neighbors and all your friends and all your family that we will be having a memorial anniversary, what are we calling this? Celebration.
Celebration.
100-year celebration of our courthouse, which we've been discussing. We just wonder what will happen in the next 100 years.
Ever
that
get
will
the
make-
capsule out?
Pardon?
Ever get the capsule out without tearing the courthouse down?
Yeah.
We did get the capsule out. We didn't tear the
Wasn't easy.
courthouse down, but we were very disappointed in what we were finding, I'm afraid. There was some water leakage into the cover box, and the newspapers were full. We found, what did we find, Justin? A horseshoe?
pennies.
Some pennies. Was there anything else?
A
Okay.
brick from the previous
A brick
one.
from the previous
Well,
courthouse.
there's some memories there somewhere.
Yeah, he has done a lot of work on looking up the history and finding newspaper articles to know what was in there, but what we.
Well, Mama knows something about that. She's not 100, but she's,
You tell me, you better watch out.
I was about to say, Bob, what are you trying to say?
You better watch out.
she won't tell you, she'll tell you how old she is. She don't mind at all.
But anyway, I hope maybe we can get a little more, media coverage out there to let everybody know this is coming up. It's an event we've, been trying to prepare the courthouse for quite a while now, so we're looking forward to it. And one other announcement, I think, we've already voted on this, that next month, we will not have a first Tuesday meeting. We will only have a third Tuesday meeting, which will be July the 21st. I keep trying to say this So we will see you back here on July 1st for our third Tuesday meeting. Does anybody else have anything that they would like to bring up before we close?
What, you say something about the other dates that we've already changed those because of the
That's going to
incentive
be in
training?
August, and I think we can address those on the 21st. don't
Maybe,
have 'em in
maybe,
front of me
maybe
right
too
now.
late for me. I mean, I've already,
We're
I'm
changing
making,
from the first and third Tuesday to the second and fourth Tuesday due to some workshop training for the fiscal
That's what
court.
y'all,
In
that-
August.
that wasn't me.
Yeah.
That's for
That
August.
was y'all.
I've got that in my book already,
Okay.
so
Yeah.
that we're still gonna do
We
it
just
that
haven't
That's the
done
same,
it
yeah,
officially.
that's
We'll
nothing
let you know.
changed.
We will.
Okay, that's,
We
okay,
will.
I've got it
Yeah.
now. That's what I wanna know,
Yeah.
if that's still in concrete,
Yeah,
okay?
they can be on call now to know that we are going to be changing those
Good.
officially next month.
Good.
All
Motion
right,
we
if there's
adjourn,
nothing
Judge.
else, I would entertain a motion to
So
adjourn.
moved.
Second.
There's a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Or adjourned.